G'day, welcome to 4AW Webstore. Today I want to talk about the 4AW muzzle brakes. These are a muzzle brake that I designed basically out of a lot of testing, a lot of understanding of how muzzle brakes work. And over 10 years now we've had them on the store. I think it's approximately that long, or we've been selling them. I designed the muzzle brake out of, once again, a need for something I couldn't find. And those features that I really wanted, as much as there's many good muzzle brakes out there, they all have their purpose, some better than others. But I found what I wanted was, I wanted the recoil retardation, so I wanted to be able to certainly make it softer to shoot a rifle, especially with some of the big stuff, but actually even affects things in some forms or other, even with the little stuff. So being able to keep your sights on target, all that sort of stuff certainly helped, even down as something as little as a 223. But there's also, with us, we shoot in dry conditions, so having it to where we didn't have as much blast hitting the ground, so there wasn't much stuff going to the ground, was very, very important to us. So you didn't stir up too much dust and things around you. The other thing that was very important to us was the way they affect a rifle. A lot of muzzle brakes have, with upwards ports and the way they cut their stuff, the way they cut the angles of the ports and that sort of stuff, can end up where they disturb the muzzle a little bit as it goes out. Now, that obviously happens largely after the projectile is gone, but it also happens just before the projectile. There is gas in front there that starts the rifle moving. So I wanted a muzzle brake that did as little to affect the geometry or the physics of the barrel, going straight back and not doing anything else. The next feature I found in all that sort of stuff was a lot of very efficient muzzle brakes put a lot of percussion on your face. And largely the moment they've got angle back ports, you're getting a little more recoil retardation, but you start to shove the air against the shooter a fair bit more. And I found even very good muzzle brakes do a fair bit of this. And I didn't want any of that. That is certainly the whole thing about the muzzle brake, is creating more comfort. And so that's what this was designed for. The last feature that I found over time, and really more by circumstance, was how the muzzle brake cleans off the turbulent air from the front of the muzzle. How it can actually do a better job than even an open muzzle with the right sort of muzzle brake. And by having these big open ports, really does a good job of cleaning off that turbulence that's trying to get in front of the bullet, because it actually has a place to go with the big ports and it's not getting pushed anywhere other than straight out. So that was the design of what I came up with. These square looking things that run in the front of the muzzles fits all those needs. It meant that it's big and square. Some people like that, some people don't, but it is the nature of the physics of getting that air going straight and keeping it by your face by having it wide. It also makes it a bit more complicated to machine. Being such a long cut through there, I get a CNC shop to do it. They're not just using a mill end, they're going through a thing called a wire cutter. So it takes a bit more setup, takes a bit more time. They are a bit more expensive to machine. They're made out of a high carbon steel, a 4140 steel, and all the finished muzzle brakes we do cerakoted in black. So in I think it's the graphite black, but black, which will go with most things. Black goes with anything, like you know, but I don't do any other colors at this stage. What we do is, you'll see on there, is a range of threads and sizes. On there, where the 3-port really goes down to as small as you like, they do a very good job, up to probably your small magnums, depending on your weight and rifle and that sort of stuff, but up to your small magnums, the 3-port does fine. And then the 4-port does up to your larger magnums, going even up to your 3-3 Lapurs and that type of thing. And we do a range of threads inside there. We also do a big barrel version, which goes to a full bull barrel, and we largely run and recommend. We've got lots of videos on our website, on our channel to talk about this. But the largest thread you can run. We obviously do a lot in the 5/8x24. Lot of that sort of thread in those things. I recommend going bigger threads, and if you're cutting custom threads, we go right up to really big threads on some of them, up to 28mm threads on the bull barrels, and we have muzzle brakes to suit that. But that's a range of those. Then we also have some big ones, 5-port and 6-port that are very much specific threads that go up to a place there. So they're set up to work with. There's some rifles that we cover on that neck of the woods, but once you go into the big exotic threads, and there is literally thousands of different threads you'll find on the front of some rifles, The way we got to go around that is don't do custom ones. They become too expensive to do a one-off at the CNC shop. So we tend to do groups of 10 or 20 type thing to try and keep the cost down as much as we can. They're still expensive to machine, but that's how we do it. So one-off becomes very expensive. The way we remedy that problem is we have our blank muzzle brakes. These blank muzzle brakes are shaped so they can easily be located and centered in a 4-jaw chuck. They are set up so that every bit of machining can happen. Cut your own thread to whatever size you want, bore the center hole out to the caliber you want to be, and even neck them down to exactly match your barrel if you want it. Designed to do it that way. They come clean, they're not coated, and we don't do the threading here. We've set it up so you can get it to your gunsmith and they can cut the thread to suit. It doesn't need to be a gunsmith. It's obviously just a thread and finished in the end there, so any good machine shop can do this, and it is simply that thread and maybe necking down the flange point so it can meet up to your muzzle exactly. So fairly simple machining that can be done in your part of the world without too much fuss. So that's about a list of them. What we've found, reviews, what people find of them, well, exactly what we found of them actually. They very much are a comfortable thing to shoot with, and that's where we find a lot of the accuracy improved. There is the design of everything where it doesn't affect with the movement of the muzzle other than the recoil retardation, which it does. They're not as efficient as some, which are really aggressively doing that recoil retardation, but when in direct comparison, certainly what I've had expressed to me from people using their rifles and what we've found ourselves is that actually ends up making them more comfortable to shoot, because you don't get this blast in your face, you don't get the dirt up in the air, that side of things, and they still do a decent job of stopping that recoil, but actually end up with a more comfortable way of shooting, because this sort of cone of silence sort of thing you get with you and very close to you. They put a lot of gas to the side of them. They're not going to be, range or indoor range friendly, that sort of stuff. So it's not something I would use and not designed to be in that situation, but very comfortable for you, the shooter. So very much in the field and with a bit of room around you sort of stuff, then these things work really, really well. Anyway, guys, welcome to drop any questions and bits and pieces down below this video. This video is largely for our store, but yeah, thank you very much for checking in. Hope that was some help. We'll catch you next time.